Tonight on News 5 Live, Colette area rep Patrick Faber comes out swinging. The embattled politician takes aim squarely at the UDP executive. The fractured party hosted a press conference but refused to discuss the infighting. And Cabinet Secretary Stuart Leslie sets the record straight about the controversial CEO allowances. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Say hello to DigiTV. Step into the world of digital entertainment. DigiTV gives you access to 100+ channels on your TV or your mobile device at unbeatable prices. Take your shows with you wherever you go. It's a new level of freedom. Enjoy your favorite entertainment, sports, family, Latin, and local channels. No more fighting for the TV remote. You can access whenever you want from 2 devices at the same time. DigiTV is for everyone. And with the fastest fiber and mobile networks in the country, you are guaranteed to have the best experience ever. There's no installation required. Sign up for the Max package for only $40 monthly and get the first 2 months for just $30. For a limited time, get 50% off a Fire Stick when you sign up. Download the DigiTV app from the Android or Apple stores. Just WhatsApp us at 608-8888 to sign up. It's that easy. Watch, experience, enjoy DigiTV today.
Watch The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on Channel 5 Belize. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Channel 5 Belize.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, October 28th. I am Annalena Polonio. Colette Area Representative Patrick Faber broke his silence today, taking aim squarely at the leadership of the United Democratic Party. The salvo comes hard on the heels of an announcement on Thursday that he will no longer be running for the UDP in that constituency, despite having won 5 consecutive terms since 2003. It is the latest in a tumultuous relationship between the former party leader and the troubled political organization. In a letter written to Faber by the Nominations Committee on October 27th, he was informed that his candidacy has essentially come to an end, notwithstanding the removal of a series of social media posts that were offensive to the party. In his place is Ian Jones, whose application to become the next standard bearer for Colette has been accepted. This morning, while party leader Shine Barrow and other members of the executive held a press conference at the UDP headquarters here in Belize City, Faber and his supporters held an impromptu protest outside of the building. It's not likely that the embattled politician is going without a fight, despite a recent attempt to trigger a recall convention failing to meet the requisite threshold.
There are serious issues, infighting within the party. I will tell you that categorically, I think that the various different posts that people make on social media, but also if you go and you talk to people on the streets every day, they will tell you that this party, the United Democratic Party, which we all love so dearly, in fact, is at one of the lowest points, if not the lowest points that this party has ever been. It is the most divided that this party has ever been. And so all of us who are right-minded must be very concerned. We saw multiple members of the Central Executive being kicked off the Central Executive with no remorse. We saw people being kicked off the positions of regional leaders after the National Party Council endorsed those people to be there. We saw ridiculous decisions being made, like asking people to now sign up for membership for the party, when in fact, people have been long-standing members of this party. In fact, those who are aspiring for candidacy were even told that if you don't sign up for membership for the party, you can't run. Hey. Some of the delegates of our party who attended 4 national conventions, and for the benefit of those people who don't know, the National Convention is the supreme law of this party, the supreme body of this party. And for you tell somebody, you voted in February 2020, you voted again in July 2020, you voted in a recall in 2021 in July, and then the following year in March 27th, you voted again, but no, you're not a member of the party after you participated in 4 national conventions, has to be absolutely ridiculous.
During his press conference, which was held at his constituency office on Antelope Street Extension, Faber criticized the composition of the Nominations Committee, the trio that vetted and subsequently rejected his application to run in Colette. He also emphasized that as a proud member of the United Democratic Party, he isn't going anywhere and will not be kicked out of the constituency. He also touched on the failed petitions and the meddling that allegedly took place once the signatures had been turned over to the party secretariat last Friday.
You appoint a nominations committee, which is made up of 3 people who, oh my goodness, I don't want to be unkind to my party brothers and sisters, but this lady, Charlotte Martinez, who is a failed village council candidate in my own home village of Lodge Bank. Another one from down south, who is Ivan Williams' daughter, Ingrid. Ingrid is the name? Who could not win a village council election either. And my Indira, sorry, Anna Williams. And long-standing. I tell you, I don't know how I could ever face Kevin Gonzalez against somebody who I believe knows the history of this party and our struggle. For these persons to say to me, and then the upper echelon of the party, the chairman and and the leader of the party will say, well, it is solely those persons, we don't have anything to do with it. That is utter nonsense. The nominations committee, I said all of that to say this, and I will make it crystal clear, that I am a UDP, and there is nobody who is going to run Patrick Faber out of the United Democratic Party. Nobody. I will also tell you that there is nobody who will run Patrick Faber out of the College Division except the people of the College Division. They have all rights to do that, and they give them an opportunity to do so every 5 or so years. We must ensure that the mechanisms of our democracy are working as stipulated in that constitution. I said, bring it on. My problem may have been that I trusted the chairman too much, Michael Perry-Feet, because he alone vetted those signatures. He alone, as the leader of the party, I never, ever saw those signatures come to my desk and say, party leader, what you think about it? Fast forward to their position. The minute the petition landed there, it was copied and sent to Shineborough. It was copied and sent to John Saldiva, who immediately started contacting people. They were busy over the weekend. It is a breach of confidence. The man who is recalled, we're attempting to recall, will get a hold of the signatures, and he will go and call people. If I tell you how many people messaged me to say that they receive threatening phone calls, to say that they receive disrespectful text messages and phone calls from Shineborough, from John Saldiva, threatening them about their livelihood.
Faber remains an elected official and will continue to serve out the remainder of the term as Collet area representative. What happens going forward, however, is anyone's guess as the party continues to unravel in real time. When asked if he would be willing to serve under Shineborow's leadership, notwithstanding all that has taken place, Faber let it fly.
You know, I feel strongly enough, and those are my own personal feelings, but I feel the people of this country feel strongly enough that God will have to help us all if that becomes the case. This man is not correct. I think that you know that from everything that he posts. He uses your TV station to put these paid ads on. I don't know why he does that, because every single ad monks up 700-800 negative comments. If you find 5, you find that. But I'm saying, you know, but I don't want you to get me wrong. I am respectful of the authority in the party, you know. And in fact, when Shine became the leader, there was no immediate protest from me, unlike him, when they failed to recall me. Nobody can say Faber jumped up on TV and knocked down Shine and criticized that. Nobody can say that. When I started criticizing was when I realized that he did not mean any good for this party. When he started to butcher the central executive, taking off people like Ruben Campos until he realized the man made it dead. Taking off people like Carlos Perdomo, like Philippa Griffith Bailey, like Roosevelt Blades, like Russell Nunez, Denton Bilal. Taking off these people, then butchering the regional leader situation, taking off Tracy Panton to put Melvin Hewlett, who... You see, those were the things that put me in a position to say, I have to take a stand. And you might say, well, Faber, that's not your place, then you should have just rallied around the leader. Well, we tried to do these things internally. You've heard my colleagues, especially Honorable Tracy, say this. Over and over, we've tried. We tried to say to them, not do that, not do that. That don't make sense you to do that. That against the Constitution, not do that. How you want to force John Saldiva upon the people in the Western region when you did not even take his name to the National Party Council to see if he could be a candidate after he has lost 3 elections?
The United Democratic Party held a press conference today to discuss a variety of issues, save for the elephant in the room, which is the failed recall attempt of Shine Barrow's leadership, as well as the Patrick Faber fiasco. The UDP also discussed recent concerns being raised by the public service in respect of allowances being doubled for chief executive officers and heads of department in the Briceño administration. It's a sore point for the Public Service Union, which has come out swinging against the decision taken by the Cabinet Secretary. We'll have more on that later, but here's what Opposition Leader Barrow had to say this morning.
When we talk about priority, we have the CEOs who already make about $80,000 per annum when you add all of their allowances and their base salary, who took no cut during the Briceño administration when they implemented the 10% reduction in salary for public officers. The Prime Minister is misleading the public. He's a stranger to the truth when he tries to tell the media houses. I saw him when he was manhandling the journalist from Channel 7, not wanting to answer her question, which the media has a right to question everything that the government does, as well as the opposition. But he misled the public when he said that the CEOs were getting back what they lost, the cuts that they took as a implementation by the Briceño administration to deal with the COVID pandemic. That is an outright lie. The CEOs got a reduction under the Barrow administration. They made no such agreement with the Briceño administration. So where is the priority of this government? It shouldn't be for CEOs who are already making $80,000. I have to confess, I am not happy with the fact that the CEO makes more than the leader of the opposition or members of the House of Representatives who work 24 hours. My work is never done.
Beyond the internal wrangling of the United Democratic Party, conversations this week have been centered around the dire situation that nurses and hospital staff are faced with at the KHMH. On Wednesday, the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital Workers Union came forward to voice serious concerns regarding a lack of medicine, equipment, human resources, and morale. They also vented their frustration with being unable to receive a pension upon retirement. During this morning's press conference, former Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Angel Campos, spoke on the issues affecting the employees at the National Referral Hospital.
Talking about the pensions, this is what most workers at KHMH are arguing about. While healthcare workers countrywide at any public institution pay 25% income tax and can look forward to a pension at their retirement, the staff at KHMH also pays 25% income tax but have no pension to look forward to. And to make matters worse, the severance is also taxable by 25%. KHMH never denies patient care, never denies district referrals, never denies private hospital referrals, never denies health center referrals, but yet KHMH staff are denied their pensions after many selfless years of service. The shortage of staff and the resignation of staff at KHMH. This directly branches off from the blatant disregard the management and board of KHMH has shown to the workers, the backbone of KHMH. Never before have mass resignation happened at KHMH, and it will only continue as staff are fed up with the poor working conditions and nil benefits from KHMH. Staff are demoralized and burnt out from the many back-to-back double shifts. Staff are leaving for better working conditions and more benefits with job security at other institutions locally and abroad. KHMH authority shows no appreciation of staff. Management have never gone out of its way to do any awards of staff with longevity or any special Mother's Day or Father's Day or such program for staff to feel appreciated.
Coming up, the Prime Minister addresses inadequate monthly subventions for KHMH.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "In this I pray, that your love may abound yet more and more in knowledge and in all judgment, that you may approve things that are excellent, that you may be sincere and without offense till the day of Christ." Some of the greatest lessons I've learned while attending Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth was from the fellow pastors I rode 75 miles with each day from Corsicana, Texas. We enjoyed one another and harassed one another unbearably. One day as we arrived at school and got out of the car, I was walking behind a friend when I noticed he was limping and stumbling some. Jokingly, I said, "Clarence, can you walk straight?" He turned around and was furious with me. I apologized quickly, assuring him I was only joking. He hesitantly accepted my apology, but I knew I'd hurt him deeply. Later that morning, I was in the library studying when he sought me out. He said, "Brother Bob, I want to apologize for my behavior this morning. I know you did not know it, but I had polio when I was a child, and all my life boys and girls have laughed at the way I walk. My heart was broken. I apologized again and again, but learned one of the greatest lessons of my life. I learned that day to be careful about what you think and say to people you do not know or understand. To me, the principle is set forth so clearly in Philippians, where the Apostle Paul prays that their love would be according to knowledge. This is a love that never fails." Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
¿Reúnes los requisitos para la amnistía 2022? Esta es tu oportunidad de aplicar. En el sitio web www.immigration.gov.bz encontrará una lista completa de todos los documentos necesarios para la amnistía según los criterios para los que eres elegible. Asegúrese de reunir todos los documentos generales y de respaldos necesarios y las traducciones necesarias. Haz tu cita en línea con cualquiera de nuestros centros de registro a nivel nacional. Ahí presentarás tus documentos y completarás las entrevistas requeridas. Después, se te entregará un recibo de aceptación. Mientras esperas una decisión sobre tu solicitud, puedes seguirlo en línea y saber cuándo será el pago en la oficina de tesorería del gobierno más cercana. Una vez completa, recibirás tu tarjeta de residencia permanente que muestra tu estado legal en Belice. Obtenga más información sobre la amnistía 2022 y cómo presentar tu solicitud en línea en www.immigration.gov.bz. Prepárate, el plazo de inscripción será del 2 de agosto al 30 de noviembre de 2022. Amnistía de Belice 2022. Continuemos construyendo Belice juntos.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Government's monthly subvention to the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital is close to $2.5 million. Almost 100% of those funds go directly towards covering the hospital's wage bill, according to CEO Chandra Cancino. And while as an authority, the hospital's management is obligated to access its own resources, with millions of dollars in fees owed to the KHMH for service delivered, their operational budget is strained. So is the Briceño administration able to increase the hospital's monthly subvention? That's what we asked Prime Minister Briceño.
Paul, you have to remember the UDP government left them in a financial mess. They left owing them millions of dollars, and it is our government that have been paying off those bills. It is important for us to look at the sustainability of KHMH, and we have no problem in having a hard look at what needs to be done. And that is what we're doing, but it all takes time. We have to be able to, as I said first, we have to be able to save the Belize dollar. We have to stabilize government expenditure. We have to see how we can grow the economy, how we can get people back to work. Now that we're kind of settling, we're still not fully out of the woods. Now we have to start to take another hard look at all the needs that we have, because the needs are great in this country, but we have to ensure that we have the funding to be able to pay for those needs. That is why we have been putting so much effort and so much interest and work in ensuring that we can grow the economy so that then we can be able then to afford to meet most, if not all, the needs of our people.
But at this time, there is no possibility of increasing that subvention from $2.4 million.
Who said that? Who said that?
I'm asking.
No, we have not said anything. We just have said we just have to take a look and see how best we can meet the needs of the KHMH.
Today, reporters got to speak with President of the Belize Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Perlita Aldana, who said that from time to time, even the private sector has to depend on the public healthcare system when it runs out of supplies. She did say, however, that while it was difficult to source some of these supplies during the COVID pandemic, it is easier to access them now, though the prices of supplies have skyrocketed and those costs are passed down to patients.
During the COVID, it was very difficult for all of us to get the gloves, the masks, the PPEs. Everything was really expensive. Even in the private sector. I am sure that things have gotten a little better, but the prices are not the way they used to be. They are like double the price that it was before the pandemic.
That's passed on to the patients.
Well, of course, it has to be passed on to the patient, because at the private sector, we cannot incur those expenses. And I do believe that what has to do with the doctor's fees or so, I haven't seen an increase in the consultation prices, even though the gas prices have escalated tremendously, and a lot of our doctors travel to and fro. That has not increased. So I think, yes, the doctors are bearing a little bit of burden when it comes to those things, you know.
Internist Dr. Fernando Cuellar is a former member of the KHMH Board of Directors. He said that the head of the KHMH Workers Union sits on that board, so that it should have known about the severity of the shortages at the hospital. He points to the involvement of middlemen in the acquisition process as the problem.
These things should be aired at that level, no? And I think that the current management have an open door policy that they could be accessed, that listen. But these people from the union are not telling lies. They're not a make-up story. There are some severe shortages of basic supplies, okay, that are compromising patient care. And although we're in the private sector, we realize that we only serve 20% of the general population. 80% are Belizean take click. And we, as good corporate people and heartful practicing people, want that everybody have some basic good health care. I accessed the CEO this week to help us with the medication that I wanted to use in the private sector. They didn't have either, but I was hoping, because we have that relationship, but we don't have one point where we have lack of basic supplies.
President of the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, Luke Martinez, also weighed in on the situation at the KHMH today. He told News 5 that the union feels that there is not an urgency to address the health issue at the hospital. Martinez says he believes that the shortages in the public health sector go far beyond the KHMH.
This morning, I saw a video with, I think it was somewhere in Cayo, where we have, it appears we have shortage of even medical officers. So certainly we join that call in requesting the government to ensure that health be a priority, that it remains a priority when it comes to the development and the advancement of this country. So if our comrades at the KHMH are requesting that meeting, we're imploring upon the Minister of Health to reach out and have that dialogue. Sometimes it's just that one dialogue that could set the stage for us to achieve a lot more.
After the break, Prime Minister Briceño says PSU President Dean Flowers playing politics. But first, here's the weather report.
Good evening, Belize, and welcome to your weather report and forecast. It's Friday, October 28th. From the National Meteorological Service, I am Ronald Gordon. Fair and dry conditions continued across the country today with limited to no shower activity. As we take a look at our radar imagery, you can see a clear map with no shower activity across the entire country of Belize at the moment. So what do we expect going forward into tonight? Conditions will continue mainly fair across most of the country, with limited to no rainfall activity expected. In terms of your minimum temperatures, they will go to about 79 Fahrenheit out in San Pedro, 77 in Belize City, 76 in the Angriga, 75 in Placencia, and also in Punta Gorda. Inland destinations will be relatively cool tonight with about 68 in Belmopan, 67 out west in San Ignacio, and 69 in Orange Walk Town. In terms of tomorrow, we expect another sunny day with limited to no shower activity across the country. Cloudiness will persist over some areas, as I mentioned previously, but we do not expect any significant shower activity tomorrow. Your high temperatures will go to about 93 out west in San Ignacio. Actually, you'll be the warmest tomorrow. If you're along coastal parts of the country, San Pedro and Belize City, you're in the upper 70s at around 87. While the southern coastal parts of the country, the Angriga, Placencia into Punta Gorda, we see temperatures of about 86 degrees Fahrenheit during the daytime. For the next 4 days, if you're planning your weekend, we expect conditions to continue mainly dry for most of tomorrow, as indicated already, with a slight increase in showers on tomorrow night into Sunday morning. We expect a return to mainly fair conditions by Monday and Tuesday of next week. Looking at the tropics, conditions are fairly dry across most of the Gulf of Mexico, but you will see some showers and thunderstorms in the extreme northwestern Gulf of Mexico associated with a cold front. This cold front is not expected to reach Belize, but will dip further south into the Gulf of Mexico and stall in that area. Conditions continue also dry across the northwestern Caribbean Sea and southwestern Caribbean Sea, providing the fair weather that we are seeing over the country. Now, if we look further east, we can see that there are some showers and thunderstorms across the eastern Caribbean Sea that is associated with a broad area of low pressure that we are monitoring very closely. Indications are that the system could become better organized into a tropical depression over the weekend as it moves slowly to the west or west-northwest. The system is moving really slowly, and we do not expect it to be in our area until about the next 5 days. It should still be out here in the northwestern Caribbean Sea. It is too early to tell where the system will go, so we'll continue to monitor it closely and inform you of any developments. In terms of our marine conditions, we're expecting winds of less than 10 knots out of the east and northeast tonight, shifting more to the northeast tomorrow and tomorrow night. Waves will be of 1 to 3 feet and sea conditions will be slight, so certainly it is a good weekend to go out to sea. Now, in terms of our astronomical conditions, a low tide will occur at 9 minutes past 7 in the morning, a high at 1:32 tomorrow afternoon, another low at 8 minutes past 6 tomorrow evening. Sunrise will be at 10 minutes to 6 tomorrow morning, and the sun will set at 5:22 tomorrow evening. Moonrise is at 6 minutes past 10 in the morning, and the moon will set tomorrow night at 9:18. And that's it from the National Meteorological Service. Have an enjoyable weekend with the very good weather that we're expecting, and join us again on Monday for your next weather report and forecast. I am Ronald Gordon.
Safe, welcoming, the start of a new chapter. Your home is one of life's biggest investments. Let's protect it. Have you made any recent additions to your property? If so, your home may not be adequately insured. The average clause states that if the amount insured is less than the cost to rebuild, you, the insured, will become your own insurer for the additional amount. To better understand this, let's look at two homes equally valued at $150,000. Home 1 was insured for $150,000, but later, an additional $50,000 was invested into the home. This means that the home is now inadequately insured for only 75% of its value. Home 2 was insured for $150,000 3 years ago, and you haven't invested in any additions. However, inflation and the rising cost of building materials mean that rebuilding the same home today will cost $180,000. This means your home is inadequately insured for only 83% of its value. Therefore, if both homes suffer a $50,000 claim in damages, Home 1 will only be entitled to 75% of this claim, $37,500, and Home 2 will only be entitled to 83% of the claim, $41,500. To avoid this from happening to you, we invite all policyholders to call your Atlantic Insurance agent for guidance today. Being adequately insured gives you the peace of mind to focus on family and life's precious gifts. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
My lights, yeah. Go to my lights, go to my lights. You gotta go to my lights, yeah. I wanna shine, 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 shine. I hit my lights cause that's my plan, 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 plan. My lights have your favorite brand, 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 brand. Just come with nothing in your hands, 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 hands. My lights, and it goes on and on and on. It goes on and on and on, yeah. I wanna celebrate with my lights, sing yeah, yo, baby let's go. My lights, I wanna celebrate with my lights, sing yeah, yo, baby let's go. We going to the stores, but we gon' do right. We gon' light a life, only with my light. We going to the stores, but we gon' do right. We gon' light a life, only with my light.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
How are we to measure the success of our lives? For many, An ordinary life should have the following: a job, a house, enough money to buy a new car. But what if we threw out the ordinary? What could escaping ordinary at our jobs do? How about for our marriages? What if I told you we could all be escaping ordinary? Join us as we begin our new series.
The Public Service Union is demanding that Prime Minister John Briceño lift the freeze on increments for public officers. Following the reinstatement of public officers' full salary, the government of Belize also moved to reinstate the deducted living and entertainment allowances for its CEOs. Prime Minister John Briceño explained that these allowances were slashed at the onset of the pandemic. As of recent, a decision was taken to reinstate that 50%. But this was never made public until this week when a leaked circular signed by the Cabinet Secretary began making rounds. So what does the Prime Minister think of the PSU's request to unfreeze their increments? He says that the union president, Dean Flowers, is playing politics.
When we were looking at reinstating, we were thinking more of the 10% cut. And we were not really necessarily thinking at that moment about the cuts that the CEOs had to take. So it's only fair for us to be able to return what they were getting before we did the cuts.
Who brought it to mind?
Well, I can't tell you exactly who brought it up, but the CEOs deal with the Cabinet Secretary. And so certainly the Cabinet Secretary then brought it to us and to the Financial Secretary about them requesting that they get back what was cut from them, and which was I think it was a fair thing to do.
What do you make of the backlash that's coming now? We're hearing from the president of the PSU saying, well, reinstate or unfreeze the increments.
I'm not surprised from anything from the president of the Public Service Union. It's unfortunate that he can't leave his politics aside and really look at the real work that we're doing, all the work that we're doing to improve the public service. But that's okay, that's his opinion, and we move forward.
And Stuart Leslie, the Cabinet Secretary, called a press conference this afternoon to set the record straight on the reinstatement of CEOs' allowances. There are reports suggesting that the CEOs never took a 50% cut in their allowance. Leslie argued otherwise. Here is what he told reporters today.
I wanted to make some clarifications and dispel some of the misinformation that is out there. If you guys did what I did when I heard some of the misinformation and just went back into your archives, you would find the facts right there. Because if you will recall, I went on Channel 5's website and I found where the Prime Minister had spoken, made an address to the nation. When the talks were going on in May in 2021 with the unions, with the joint unions, you will recall when the unions agreed to accept the 10% cut and there were negotiations. There was a discussion and the Prime Minister addressed the nation after that, and I want to read right here where the Prime Minister says, as quoted by Channel 5 News, Ministers of State and CEOs will also surrender 50% of entertainment and telephone allowances. So this information out there, this misinformation that CEOs' allowances were doubled or 100% is patently false. It is not true. In 2018, the Barrow administration went into negotiations with CEOs. They agreed to a package including salaries and allowances. That package of salaries and allowances has not been changed since 2018, other than when the COVID pandemic came around, Mr. Barrow, then Prime Minister, asked CEOs if they would as well take some gesture because of the financial situation in the country. The CEOs then agreed to take a 50% cut in allowances. When Prime Minister Briceño took over office, he asked the CEOs if we would agree to continue that. And CEOs volunteered to continue to accept the reduction in allowances, but not just that, also agreed by the circular, followed to a T the circular that was sent out by the Financial Secretary, which called on CEOs and other heads of department to take a cut in salary, a 50% cut in allowances, all allowances, 10% cut in gratuity, and 10 days of leave. This team, this government, this administration reversed unemployment from 30-something% to 9%. This administration restored confidence, so now that business is growing and the economy is back to the point where not 3 years as was promised, within 1 year, the public officers 10% salary reduction was given back to them. Is it that the CEOs should not be given their allowances restored?
Leslie confirmed that government CEOs had in fact lobbied for the return of their 50% living and housing allowance. They reasoned that such a request is fair, considering the fact that the 10% that was taken away from public officers was returned. And the cabinet secretary agreed with this rationale. But what about those increments for public officers that remain frozen? CABSEC Leslie contended that CEOs cannot be compared to other public officers in this regard because CEOs are not entitled to annual increments.
When the agreement was made, that when the government said we will restore salaries and allowances for public officers, in effect, everything was triggered. It was not that we come and say, okay, because the agreement was we are going to accept this as long as a crisis, we're considered the country's financial position is in a bad shape. First of all, increments are not automatic. You earn your increment. And just for the record, CEOs don't get any increments. So it is not as if CEO is getting something more. Because think about what I said to you earlier, that's why I started with this. 2018 was the last time that CEOs got any salary increase, any increase in allowance or anything. 2018. In most jobs, anywhere you go, every year people get increase. Public officers are saying right now we want our annual increase. CEOs don't get any increase in anything. They have to go to the table and negotiate to get any increase. So if you're talking about cost of living and so on, what we are earning right now is what the government believed a CEO was worth in 2018. Think of how the world has changed between 2018 and 2022.
Sir, but most people these days aren't even making half as much as what a CEO is making, and they still have to survive without living or travel allowances.
Most people have to run a country, manage a $1.1 billion economy. Think about this. A ministry, like the Ministry of Education, $300 million. CEO earns $76,000 plus $750 up until we restored her allowances to $1,500. You go all over the world and you ask CEOs in companies, corporations, managing far smaller budget.
Earlier, we heard the president of the NTUCB speak on the shortages within the public health sector. When he spoke with us today, Luke Martinez said that there are a number of things that concern the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, such as inflation and the cost of fuel. Martinez said that the Congress, through the Social Partnership Committee, has also submitted a paper to the Prime Minister on ways and means that it could advise the government to manage energy costs. But along with that, Martinez also shared his views on the government's decision to increase the CEO's allowance. And he said there are other priorities to consider.
We have been sacrificing, even before COVID, all of us, public officers. In fact, when they started their cost savings, we gave up as much as $85 million, thereabout. And we're seeing where the government continue to make supplementary after supplementary, and obviously, whenever you have to come and do supplementary, it means that you're not managing the budget properly, and it's a result of budget failure. And so it can't be that you're paying everyone and we can't pay the public officers, the people who drive this economy. And if you were to ask any public officer what's his or her take on CEOs receiving double on entertainment allowance. Entertainment allowance, you could imagine you're entertaining people when we have people who can't even afford to buy a slice of bread because everything has gone up, skyrocketed. I think that this country, the country leaders should be focusing on how we could ensure that wages could satisfy the needs of the working class in this country. Inflation, the government should be focused on how we could address inflation. Instead of the government focus on trying to satisfy entertainment for CEOs, we have a lot of important things that they need to address in this country. And of course, the public officers' increment is important. The message as it relates to the public officers' increment is that it should be unfrozen immediately.
As we have reported, the opposition is calling for a referendum on Belize's accession to Pact Bogota. Prime Minister John Briceño says that to hold a referendum on Pact Bogota would be a waste of time and money. In responding to the opposition's call for a referendum, PM Briceño noted that the matter was already decided in the 2019 referendum.
We have every confidence that Honduras have zero claim to the Zapodilla Keys. There are records where they have been writing to the British way back then, asking permission to be able to use the Zapodilla Keys. So that, in effect, is evidence that they have admitted that Zapodilla Keys belongs to back then to British Honduras and now to Belize. So we're not concerned about that. I know the UDP, again, trying to play politics, saying that we need to go to a referendum. But the Belizean people have already gone to a referendum. Their point was to say, let's settle this at the ICJ. I don't think they would say, well, we want to go to ICJ to settle just with Guatemala but not with Honduras. If we would have told the Belizeans back then that also Honduras would have a claim, I'm sure that they would have said yes to everything. So why are we going to waste time? Why are we going to waste money? It is important for us to have a definitive settlement for our land borders and our marine borders. And that's what this government is working towards to accomplish.
When we return, Minister Dolores supports penalty for eruption nightclub. We'll tell you why after the break.
Game one of the IBL playoffs lived up to its billing. Tough enough Tours and Belize Coast Guard both drew first blood. And now, the Belize Water Service and Central Health Customs teams must go back to the drawing board and make the necessary adjustments for Game 2. It's the Benny's Inter-Office Basketball League semifinals. Game 2 in the best-of-3 series. Winner go back to your office for the BWS and the Central Health Customs squads. Who will force a decisive Game 3? Who will advance to the grand finale? Who will draw one step closer and bling the championship ring? The semifinals is now moving to the Belize Civic Center this Friday night, October 28th at 7:30 p.m. for Game 2 in the best-of-3 series. Game 1 will feature the Tough Enough team on a mission led by Francis Arana and Ian Rennie, seeking to advance to the big dance. Will the BWS force a decisive Game 3? Or will the Tough Enough Tours bury them deep into the ocean? Game 2 of the night will be a thriller. Belize Coast Guard, with the largest fan base in the IBL and led by Buddy Alberto and Potty Flowers, with Darren Bovell at the helm, will seek to advance to the finals as they battle against the upstart Central Health Customs, led by Glency Cooper Lopez and Stephen Wade. Game 1 was a nail-biter, and Game 2 should be no different. Will the Coast Guard advance to the finals, or will the upstart Central Health Custom team map that and force a decisive Game 3? Bring out the entire family this Friday night, 7:30 p.m. at the Belize Civic Center for Game 2 of the best-of-3 series. Just another level! Sponsors: Resinos Imports, D&W Supermarket, Mahib's Wholesale, Barefoot Hotel, Cabana Used Clothing, Midway Wholesale, Mirage Belize, Car Guys, Harris Import, Prestige Auto Sales, Cellular World, Posh and Store, VIP Wireless, Nando's Wholesale, Penny's Home Center, Crystal Water, Sprite, Power 8, Travelers, Channel 5 and Channel 7, Rem, Wave, Love FM and More FM. Let's get it on!
I will be there. Thank you so much.
Why are you so excited?
Let me tell you a secret. I just got off the phone with Santa.
Hi, Santa. For Christmas, I want a pea shooter, a football. iPhone and a makeup for Christmas.
Oh, come on. 1 second.
We just learned that Santa's phone number has just been revealed. The number is 227-7132.
I'm sorry, Dad. I shared Santa's phone number.
Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety and reminds you to always look out for power lines. When constructing your home or business, ensure that your structure is not immediately under or too close to power lines. Be cautious when mounting equipment such as rain gutters or satellite dishes, and make sure to secure them properly to avoid them falling or making contact with nearby overhead power lines. Also avoid planting trees directly under or too close to power lines. If you touch any conducting object that's in contact with the power line, electricity can instantly pass through you, causing a potentially deadly shock. If you're uncertain or think your home or business may be too close to power lines, call us toll-free at 0800-235-2273 or message us on Facebook or WhatsApp for guidance when working near power lines. Belize Electricity Limited. We care about your safety.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
As we have reported, the proprietors of Eruption Nightclub in Ladyville have been charged for admitting a 17-year-old inside the establishment. That female minor said that she was drinking and ended up unconscious before she woke up the following morning and realized that she had been raped. A Ladyville resident has also been charged for that crime. The nightclub is located in the constituency of Dolores Balderramos Garcia, who is also the Minister for Human Development. The sexual assault of the female minor has her up in arms. Minister Balderramos Garcia says that there are too many issues there.
There are too many issues. There are too many issues there, man. If you cannot run a nightclub and make sure that underage people are not in there, then you know business for have one license. And that is my strong view. That is my strong view. No, that may not have fully protected the young lady who was violated, but it is contributing to the abusers when you allow underage people into a drinking facility, you know, I'm putting it that way. You have to card everybody. And there has to be proper security, proper fire exit. I think and I make this appeal to our nightclub owners and bars, restaurants, etc. Make we do the things in the correct way, man. We have to protect our communities, have your fire exit, make sure that you have your security, make sure you don't allow in the underage. Those are the kinds of things that we can do to develop our country and to make sure that everybody is protected.
The Belize Medical and Dental Association today opened its 39th Medical Congress at the Best Western Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel in Belize City. Dr. Fernando Cuellar, an internist at the Belize Medical and Dental Association, was one of the presenters at the event. He focused on what the COVID pandemic taught us and how we ought to prepare for any other public health issue moving forward. But in tandem with the theme, improving and standardizing healthcare in a post-pandemic era, President of the association, Dr. Perdita Aldana, speaks first on the need for doctors to bring themselves up to speed with continuous medical education now that COVID is fading into the background.
At one point, we will come and have a congress where we can deal with topics that are more related to the way how we practice the things that we need, the things that affect us, like how the pandemic directly affected oncological patients and how they affected pediatric care, So there are different little topics that are very interesting.
What are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what we can improve on, what we need to change, but we need to do a very formal, holistic review. And if it takes us up to a couple of years to do it or to get that completed, then so be it. But we need to do it so that we put things in place for the very unfortunate next time, even if the next time takes 20, 30 years to come along. We need to strengthen, of course, the infrastructure in the healthcare system, the hospitals, and definitely we need to strengthen our human resources at all different levels. Physicians, nurses, lab technicians, drivers, the whole shebang. So we need to do it comprehensively, not only my opinion, Fernando Cuellar, but the whole medical community and those who are involved when it comes to this so that we can plan for the next one. No?
Belize High School has done well, putting Belize on the map, having won gold in Switzerland in a robotics competition. Rightly so, the team has been receiving acknowledgements, not only from their peers, but also from the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires last week, the Cabinet earlier this week, and now today from one of the school's partners, the Holy Redeemer Credit Union. The credit union supported them on their journey to the competition, and now today they handed over a $5,000 check to BHS to further their robotics program.
They saved the best for last, and that's why we're here. We brought along a check with us to encourage them to continue with the program, besides what we had given them to be able to attend the robotics competition in Switzerland. We have a partnership with BHS. I mean, HRSU and BHS go way back. They sponsored our quiz competition. We look forward to them doing our Mad City money. A lot of things for our credit union are done right here at BHS, and the students are always willing and helpful when it comes to events like those. So it was a yes all around when we approached the board to ask them to please assist them in this competition.
Competition is a little different because when you go with your best and you end up winning gold, you have to improve. So it turns around as the Olympic mentality. The best has to get better. And so we very much appreciate that HRSU has pledged to continue supporting us so that we can get better. I was updating to HRSU that after this performance, we had our neighbors, quote unquote, in the pits, our neighbors, Barbados. So they have a wonderful mentor, Matthew Douglas. He reached out right away and wanted to come to Belize to scrimmage with their robot. So they are coming to visit us with their robot, which is exciting. And he was a big help in getting us in our latest program. So it's another type of competition with a little harder robot, but we're willing to step up to the challenge. And so we are now working with mentor from Mexico, Alex, and Matthew from Barbados. And so we will be looking to participate in our program in March of next year in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So Steam Bell is our new team name in that project.
A group of U.S. nationals has been in the country over the past week experiencing the wonders of the Belize Barrier Reef and the Maya monuments. But their main mission was the installation of a playground at the Janessa Jones Park in the heart of Ladyville. Today, the renovated park was reopened to the public, and it was a celebration as children within the community were finally given access to the new space where they can recreate. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
The popular Janessa Jones Park in Ladyville near the basketball court was officially relaunched following some much-needed renovations. It was a collaborative effort that saw a playground installed by a group from the U.S. Valued at approximately $40,000, the children from the community now have a place to recreate.
I really believe in partnership, and this has been a partnership with the Ladyville Village Council, myself, the community, and of course the three organizations, Cabot International, Kids Around the World, and Little Tykes. I believe in partnership because we could never have done this on our own. As you know, we have had Janessa Jones Park, and little by little we are improving it. Mr. Hutchison gave the history that when they started them one swing and one slide. But look at what can happen with partnership.
The team from the U.S. says that it is more than just the value of the donation, but more about the impact that it is going to have on the community. Brett Kidd says that refurbished playgrounds are installed in deserving communities like Ladyville.
It's been such a wonderful experience, and we know it's going to change some lives within the community, but the best part is it changes our lives as well. So just being welcomed into this community and just meeting some of the kids and the parents has just been a phenomenal experience for us.
How long have you guys been here and the time that it took to put up?
We came down on Monday. We're leaving today. It's Friday. Monday, we dug some footings, kind of laid out everything, unpacked everything, and Tuesday morning we came in, really got it up in one day, believe it or not, which is really fast for us. And then we concreted everything in on Wednesday, put the pea gravel in. So we were done roughly around Thursday morning.
Belize Rural Central Area Representative Dolores Balderramos Garcia calls on residents who will use the park to exercise civic pride so that the playground can last for future generations.
Keep it up, to respect it, to let their children respect it, to use it in a good way. It's right in a downtown area. You know, the Ladyville Community Center is there, the football field, the basketball court with the bleachers. So it's in a very central location. So I would only ask that you use it in a good way, in a way that is positive for the upliftment and the development of the children.
Minister Garcia says that there may be need for additional lighting, but that will come with time. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Just ahead in tonight's Bright Side story, meet a visually impaired tech repairman.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include cath lab, adult intensive care unit, neonatal intensive care unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI. Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 police teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 believes on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the split the bill button where he selects the evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
This week, Sabrina Daly sat down with Miguel Vejerano, a young man from Corozal who is looking on the bright side in his own unique way. Miguel is visually impaired, but you'd really have to see it to believe what he does for a living.
On the Bright Side is brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
This is how I use
Talkback on 6 of 7. Accessibility.
So this is how I navigate the settings when I repair a TV.
Location.
This is Miguel Vejerano, a visually impaired resident of Corozal District. He has only 10% vision in his left eye. He's only able to see bright lights and colors. In his right, however, he is completely blind.
So when I don't need the talkback, I use my I can see the white piece here and the blue one, the orange one. Well, it has been like almost 14 years which I'm being visually impaired. I lost it when I was 18. It was when I was 18 I lost almost completely my vision. in which that was due to an accident that I have previously when I was young. So that came to affect me like 7 years after.
Miguel wasn't always visually impaired. His condition manifested 7 years after an accident as a child. He was diagnosed with glaucoma, and 3 months later, life as he saw it would be changed. His mother, Felipa Vejerano, recounts what it was like learning that her son's life would change and clinging to her faith as a refuge in times of adversity.
I remember one verse that said that everything that God make happen to you, He will make a way. And I keep on that. And sometimes I remember that he is saying that when he started to have his kids, he said, the first kid, he said, I want to give him something and I don't have, and I don't. And I started to tell him that God will make one way. I don't know where, but I know that He put it in this and He will take care of you.
The first year wasn't like you're watching me now. The first year was really challenging. I stayed locked up on my room. I didn't know what to do because it was an impact when they tell you that you won't be able to see for the rest of your life and that you will lose the rest of your vision in a few years.
But Miguel would later find his way around his limitation through the unexpected. Not only has Vejerano found his niche in working with technology, but he has even made it support him financially.
When I lost my vision, I said I won't be able to do that again, and there's not a way. And I got disappointed. But then I started assisting at the BCVI, and I was presented with the screen readers. And that's when I said, there must be technologies to be able to handle some way the technology which I wanted to deal with. And that's when I started researching by myself, research, and trying to find out. And that's when I involved myself in all these repairing phones, every electronic device which has a system, a software system.
How does he do it? That's the question not only I had, but every customer that learns that the man that fixes their gadget is unable to see.
That's something that many persons always ask me, even some persons that have come to me to repair something, not knowing that I do not see. When they get to notice that I don't see, they say, how do you that? But how you will do it? And then I say, well, I use screen readers. All devices that have Android system, they have a screen reader.
Surprised me that a visual impaired person can do that type of work, and it's something that inspires me to see that someone like that can do that type of work. No?
All of the devices that have Android, they have the TalkBack, which is a screen reader that reads everything that's on the screen. Once you touch it, you can move left, right with your right swipe, left swipe to move around the screen, and it reads everything you touch.
Miguel offers his services under his business iTech Solutions Corzal. He even showed us the many videos he edited for his YouTube channel, as well as his own advertisement for his business. All it took were apps and a talkback feature that gives him guidance on where to touch.
Never thought that I could evolve myself in something that could bring me some economy also. It's not a big economy that I make, but it's something that I can make for myself, not to feel myself like not to be able to do something. But yes, I do feel good after some time, which I didn't imagine myself doing this.
Looking on the bright side, I'm Sabrina Daly.
On the Bright Side was brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
Ho, ho, ho! This Christmas, the first present comes from Uno. Get 1 coupon for every purchase of $25 in Uno fuels, per quart of Uno lubricants, or 2 coupons per gallon. Get into the spirit. It's Christmas time. Uno, a brand committed with the future.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Annalena Polonia. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.